Hello and welcome to YouTube's best kept secret. Welcome to the Battleground K Nection 2016. I'm your host, the always stunning K Nection, and I'm chomping at the bit to get this uppercut party started. Pay-per-views will be handled a little bit differently compared to my Raw and SmackDown podcasts, as I will always not be going over the hype videos because there's really nothing to go over. They are what they are. While they might be cool, they do no advancement of the storylines, but are more like a movie trailer before the movies. Movie critics don't usually talk about the trailers before the movies, so I see no point really reviewing the hype videos. I also wanted to apologize for getting the show up so late. I had some trouble watching the event on my computer, and the problem really did not clear up until this morning when I finally actually got time to finish watching it. With that short explanation out of the way, let's talk about the opening match. It is the team of Charlotte and Dana Brooke versus Sasha and the mystery partner that everybody's seen coming a mile away, Bayley. Even though the crowd was no fools here and knew it was going to be Bayley, that was even chanting at stands, it really didn't take away from the pop once her music hit. I mean, the roof light literally blew off the place. Honestly, if anybody else walked down that ramp, they probably would have had a riot, you know. A very evil dark side of me would rather seen Eva Marie come out right then, just to see how nuclear the crowd would have became once that happened. Oh, it'd been glorious. I mean, could you imagine just, there'd been like seats thrown at her and everything. Now, the match itself was pretty solid, and whomever the road agent was, I really want to give them props because they put together a really good match in hiding Dana Brooke's flaws. Dana really never did anything out of her range, and both Sasha and Bayley sold for both her and Charlotte extremely well. The fans were eating this match up, and the participants could have just phoned it in and still gotten the reaction they did, but they just delivered at a high level regardless. I'm honestly a little shocked I'm handing this high of a grade out with a match involving Dana Brooke, but I'll give the devil her due, and the show started off with a B-. The next match was the New Day versus the Wyatt family. There was quite a bit of storytelling to this match, which is never a bad thing. The one complaint I do have about this match wasn't even really about the match itself. It was Braun Strowman's pants. I just can't help but notice the ones he currently has, it has this brown stain in between his legs. It kind of just looks like he pissed himself. I see him wear this a lot. It's just one of the things that grinds my gears. But on to the match itself. It seemed to keep teasing that Xavier was afraid of Bray the whole match. Anytime they would meet up in the match, Xavier would be hypnotized with fear, which made me really curious to see where they were going with it. The match didn't break any barriers as far as ring work goes, but if it's the last chapter of the story, I'm probably going to be left wanting more. The announcers sold the match at the end as Xavier finally overcoming his fears, and he went on a flurry, cleaning house left and right, but then ultimately ran into his undoing when he was met with Sister Abigail. It was a serviceable match, but if this is truly the end of the feud, in my opinion, it will be a disappointing ending to leave off on. All in all, I give it a solid C. Well, the next match was the United States Championship match between Raw's Rusev and SmackDown's Zack Ryder. The match was not anything amazing. Zack's outfit really stood out more than the match itself did. The crowd was engaged the entire time, which is the biggest victory either man could achieve. It's just personal preference, really, that I wasn't into the match. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big Zack Ryder mark. It's just, I know that WWE never has any real faith in him, which makes most of his matches pretty predictable. He wrestles a standard underdog match where he takes an enormous amount of punishment, gets a few hook spots in, and just when you think WWE is about to do something really risky, they stay the course and nothing changes. And here's a spoiler that I'm just calling out right now before I even see it myself. And that's if the title doesn't flip in this match, I'm pretty damn sure it's not going to flip in the Darren Young versus Miz match for the IC title. I just don't really see WWE sticking both jobber titles on one brand. I don't see it happening. After this match, Rusev was laying boots down in Ryder, and Mojo Rawley popped out, ran down the aisle, and then stared Rusev in the face. Rusev really left, he just shrugged him off, whatever, left. It kind of really cut Mojo's legs out from under him, seeing that. They really just end the segment just kind of yelling at each other. Yay for the Hype Bros. Overall, they did keep the crowd engaged, and I was slightly into the ending of the match, not the fallout afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a C-. The next segment was Mick and Stephanie talk about Bayley's debut when Seth appears on screen with an ego the size of Texas. He was back to the old Seth Rollins, acting like he won the title match at SmackDown and not even listen to any negative criticism whatsoever. Rollins is a great heel, but I still can't help but feel let down that WWE missed a huge opportunity in double turning him and Roman. The next match was a true barn burner, in that of Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. I can never get tired of seeing these two guys go at it. They always seem to rise above their previous performance no matter what. There was a bit of a scare early in the match where it looked like Sami botched a high-risk move, but it blurred the lines between fantasy and reality because it was what either appeared to be a ballsy planned botch or a botch that was worked into the psychology, because Kevin Owens continued to work that right arm afterward like it was planned. It speaks volumes that I've been watching wrestling so long and couldn't even tell if it was planned or covered up. Anyways, the crowd was eating this up as well as they should be. Honestly, right now, just watching this, I'm thinking this is probably going to be the match of the night, and I haven't seen the rest of the card yet. They truly did, up until this point, steal the show, and I'm going to end up giving this the highest grade I've given out since I started this podcast, which is an A-. I know if I was wrestling, I would have hated to follow that last match. There's not really too much bad I can say about Natalya versus Becky Lynch. The girls did a good job of cooling the crowd back off without completely killing them. That is a very underappreciated quality that is lost in most of the business. If this were an indie show and they tried to follow Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, they would have been shot out of cannons and jumping from the rafters and giving birth to babies. I mean, most guys in the indie scene are always worried about getting their shit in and trying to upstate the last match. But I'm getting way too far off subject here, so there was plenty of submissions, and Natalya was working Becky's leg quite a bit. A very technically sound match. Becky got a few hope spots in, but Natalya ended up with a victory after getting the second applied sharpshooter. While there was almost nothing they could have followed that last match, Natalya and Becky gets a C for not killing the crowd off or burning him out at the same time. The next segment was a promo having SmackDown Live's authority hyping up Dean Ambrose. Not much to add to this. Shane did a good job of setting the tone, and Daniel came off as intense and right to the point of selling that Dean was the unpredictable one in the Shield. Dean did his little Dean thing and slid a little humor in there before selling the point that he was really ready. I feel this promo was way better than the Steph, Mick, and Rollins one, but it could be just my anti-Stephanie McMahon syndrome I'm having here. Okay, the next match was my piss break. It was Darren Young versus The Miz for the IC title. I skipped this one, to be honest, because after Miz's entrance, there really was nothing else to watch. It was pretty much boring most of the way through, and even when there was some actual drama unfolding between Bob Backlund and Maurice, it just led to a lot of confusion. Maurice slapped Bob Backlund across the face. Bob Backlund really oversold it, but then I noticed that she actually knocked out one of his front teeth. For some reason, Maurice fell on her butt and was pretending to be scared of Backlund, even though it was really unclear why she was being scared. The Miz came outside to shove Backlund, and then Darren Young went outside to apply a crossface chicken wing to The Miz. For some odd reason, the ref called for the bell. It was never really clear why the match was thrown out. I mean, honestly, there was never a measure that touched the participant. It was really, Miz shoved Backlund, but that was about it. I actually checked WWE.com and they ruled it as a double countout, even though the ref never even counted. Um, Back on point, Darren, I got up after that and shoved an official, which I wanted to shove an official too because they shouldn't even call the match off without even counting if they're going to rule it a double countout, I guess. But I'm going to have to really take a dump on this match and give it an F. If there was a goal at attempting to tell a story, it was so badly presented that I couldn't even digest it. Smack Talker Skywalker strikes again. This is the one thing I absolutely look forward to in Enzo and Cass's stuff, is their pre-match promos. Enzo did a magnificent job of roasting the club, and I'm floored of how he tends to stay fresh with every promo he cuts this day and age. I mean, this night was a really star-making night for this guy. He showed signs of being one of the all-time greats on the microphone already in his young career. The match itself was very entertaining. I mean, he really stuck out. I mean, he of course he was the little guy taking a lot of the heat, but at the same time he just shined. Like, his star quality was just beaming in this match. As always, the crowd was 110% engaged in the match. Each guy in the match, did a really good job. Actually, just did their job perfectly. There was plenty of false finishes, but the match inevitably ended up with a top rope AA. The match was great, and it did a really good job of moving the story forward between John and AJ. So I'm going to have to give this match a B-. The next segment was a highlight reel featuring the returning Randy Orton. The segment was good overall. I always thought Randy made a hell of a lot better heel than he does a face. But he still has a really good face delivery with his punchlines. He even went below the belt and referenced Brock's recent performance enhancement scandal in a really backhanded comment. This is one thing I will give props. WWE is letting these guys poke fun at these sort of things lately instead of just having them stick their head in the sand. And I want to really give props to WWE. It seems to take the bullets away from their critics if they're just putting it out there instead of hiding from it, if you know what I mean. The final match of the evening was the Shield Triple Threat. Loved the flow of this match, definitely. I thought it finished a bit soon, but man, that was a coming out party for Dean Ambrose. I love the whole Ambrose and Rollins putting Reigns through the table. Rollins felt like a tweener, saying heel things and kind of getting half cheered. But I really think WWE should have embraced Roman as a bona fide heel, because he played the role in the match perfect. The fans love booing the guy, and he looked very comfortable in his skin doing this, playing this role in the match. Reigns hit a spear on Rollins, but Dean snuck in a Dirty Deeds right on Reigns at the very finish. Reigns took the pinfall, which is not really surprising to me. Ambrose retained to be the WWE Champion and brought the title home to SmackDown Live. I give the match a B. Like, it was really good. While it was a damn good match, it just didn't have the same luster that Zayn versus Owens had. The whole show gets a B overall. I can honestly say that was the best Battleground WWE has put out there. Darren Young and The Miz was the only true stain on the show in my eyes. I guess we'll just have to see where they go with their future booking. Good thing they don't face off again, because that was just weird. But be sure to tune in tomorrow when I'll have the Raw K Nection up. Don't forget to like this video or leave a comment below. And definitely do not forget to subscribe to me. We're still on the quest to break double digits. It will happen.